go.
All right. Welcome to How Did We Get Here? For those of this might be your first time watching, this is this is the podcast that you come to talk to two guys who are experts. We masters. We're professionals at nothing. We are professionals at real life, though. You know, we live real life. Not what you might see on Instagram and Facebook. We deal with real life, families, kids,
Real
business,
stuff.
work, headaches, ups, downs, all that. And so we'd like to talk about those moments in your life where you look up and you say, man, how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be when you're on top of the mountain and things have worked out and you put together a plan and it worked out and one day you live in this unimaginable life. How did I get here? Or it could be when you're in the valley and things haven't went well and it seems like it's raining one on top of the other and you wake up with the stress and the pressure and you say, man, how did I get here? And we just want to talk about it. So today we have a brilliant young man here that we're so happy and proud to have on our show. He is trying to break ground here in Detroit area in what can be considered as a very tough business to break ground in this area.
True.
This is not an area known for show business these days, but he's trying to break ground. He's making waves around here, and we want to hear about his story. How did he get here? Where's he going from here? But as of right now, he's a co-founder and acting coach at the Detroit Actors Society. He works at Productions Plus. By the way, I'm reading this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this all the same guy? He does this and he does this. And you got a family and kids. And
yeah, got that too. Yeah.
works at Productions Plus, the talent shop. Actor at Group Model and Talent Management. He's working with the Detroit Drama Studio. Also a real estate expert at Mark Z. That's one of the biggest around here, Mark Z.
Shout out to Mark Z.
And he's a graduate of Southfield Lathrop High School. Sorry to hear that.
Yep, 12 miles Southfield.
We got Mr. Brian Taylor. Welcome to the show, Brian. Welcome to the show, brother.
Appreciate it.
Tell us how you feeling today, man.
I'm feeling good. I called Dave before I got here. The day was going great. Everything was moving swell. Ashley called me. That's my wife. She called me and she said, somebody hit my parked car.
Wow.
I said, man, I got to be somewhere by 7. So what you need me to do? She's like, just stay home and just wait for my car. But everything is all good. And now I'm here.
That's a blessing.
Man. This is great.
That's a blessing, man. And, you know, that's a phone call that you get. Could have been much worse.
Yeah.
You know, people get a phone call that's bad news. So we're going to be thankful for that today.
Yeah.
We're going to be thankful that it was only that. And we can put the insurance together and get past all that. You know. So you was raised here in Michigan.
Yep.
Tell us about how you grew up, man. What type of family, environment, how'd you grow up?
Man, probably typical, as Drake would say, American Dad story. Parents separated when I was 9.
Okay.
Dad lived here for the next 3 years, moved away when I was 12. So I always joke about it, right? So I'm from Southfield, right? But growing up, there was always the stigma. You know, when you from Southfield, you got your people from Detroit. You know, everybody always talks down on Southfield. Everybody, Southfield is soft. Yeah.
Softfield.
Softfield. That's what they want to say, right? So I grew up in an area called Tiffany Drive. It's off 12 Mile of Northwestern, right across the street from the Star. So Tiffany Wakefield, and then you got Franklin Towers. They changed the name to Lexington Towers. But these two areas in Southfield were known as like the hood of Southfield, right? So I grew up in this area, kind of like in a mix. And when I say a mix, I mean I had a lot of guys that were moving from Detroit into the neighborhood.
Okay.
So the roughness that I needed, I experienced it because I was enveloped in it.
So you had a fair mixture there.
Yeah, right. I was that little mixture. So I say I grew up faster than my peers who grew up in like Winchester and Lathrop Village and things like that. Because I saw a few things growing up. But I think my dad moving on when I was so young changed my perspective on what manhood was. So it was kind of jaded, but it was kind of real in the same.
So you grew up fast.
Oh yeah, definitely so.
Real life came.
Real life came, definitely so. Had to step up early.
Okay. So you grew up went to Southfield schools.
Yep.
The whole time. Nice. I went to Southfield schools for a few years. We moved out to West Bloomfield in the 7th grade, but I do know about that area. So we welcomed you to the show. Now we're gonna, just to break the ice, we're gonna get into a segment. So if you're from Southfield, Michigan, you have to know about this song.
Okay.
And it goes a little something like this.
Yep. Yes, indeed. This the intro song? This the intro song to the show?
Nah, this is the intro to our
segment.
Oh.
This is our Boy With You segment.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right,
about
so
to stimulate your brain.
Yeah. We're gonna crack your mind open and get your thoughts and views on a couple current events.
All right.
So, Boy With You is where we go over. This is the part in the podcast where we can kind of timestamp today.
All right.
Today's April 14th, 2022. As you know, it's always some craziness going on in the media.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not here to gossip, but this is just to get a perspective. And also, whenever we look back at this, we'll have a timestamp as to where we were. You know what I mean? What type of stuff was going on in the world. First of all, so you're going to hear it, and you're going to give us your opinion on it. And you're going to decide, do we give this person a boy with you?
All right.
Would you boss up and get your mind right? Would you boss up and get yourself together? Or are you going to give them a pass?
Okay, got you.
All right?
Sounds fun.
We're going to let them live. So the first one we're going to talk about, Jennifer Lopez is now engaged for her 5th time.
Yep.
Wow.
5th time.
Yep.
It's actually she's engaged to Ben Affleck.
Again?
Yep. Full head.
It will be the 2nd time that she's engaged to him. First time didn't work out.
Yep.
If they do marry, this will be her 4th marriage. She's been married 3 times, engaged. This will be the 5th time she's engaged. So you know how Hollywood is, and it's kind of like people are dating, but they're all rich and famous. So you're on this cloud. It's like, oh, why not? But it doesn't work out and everything like that. But question, I guess, is how many times do you try it out before you just say, you know what? Marriage might not be for me. Let's just enjoy our time. And or do you think she's just for wanting that settled down life, you know, that ideal picture that we all dream of? Mm-hmm. Or should she just give it up? Tell us about it.
I'm going to say it's a boy with you. I'm going to say 5 engagements, 4 marriages, engaged to the same person twice. Now, listen, this is how I look at it, right? You go to the dealership. You buy a Ford Escort. It conks out on you. And you say, but I really like the Ford. You go back and buy the same Ford, it conks out. You go back and buy the same model, it conks out. You go back the 4th time, it conks out. That means on the 5th time, maybe I should switch to Toyota. Or maybe I shouldn't buy cars altogether. I think Jennifer Lopez, I don't know her. She's a beautiful woman. She's like 53 now, I think. She's still immaculate. But it might be something going on with Jennifer. It might be somebody. It might be a male figure in her life that she was missing out on. If it was me, it's just like the Kardashians. I wouldn't touch it. But that's just me. To each his own.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna boss up. And I'm gonna say that's a boy with you.
We gonna give her a boy. Would you? So we're not gonna let her live.
I can't do it. Just she stay single, keep dancing and singing, make the little movies, and go ahead, just chill out.
She's got to give it up. All right, for the second one, and this one, we've been talking about this for a couple episodes, and I keep wanting to put this down, but it's something that makes me keep picking it back up, just because I think it's that big. As you know, Will Smith wild out.
That's the perfect way to put it.
That is.
He wild out.
Let's just call it what it is. He wild out for a night. Everybody gets one. He wild out. I think he did something that he now regrets. Yeah. Obviously. Um, I don't know exactly what he was going through in that moment, but it's clear he was going through something. And we all know what happened. And at first we talked about him doing it. And then we talked about the mental part of his mental health and how he struck out on somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay. And like I said, everybody gets a time where they get to wild out. You know, we've all done it. But now, based on his actions, he has been banned from he's been outcast from the Oscars Academy.
10 years.
10 years. He said to lose lots and lots and lots of money, like huge deals he had with like Netflix, Sony. Everybody's backing out. So, my question to you is, Will Smith, you know, now we get to talk about cancel culture a little bit.
Okay.
This is the cancel culture side of things. You know, after you work all your career and you make these great movies and you entertain people and you're a superhero, you know, I think it's almost unfair that I'm not justifying what he did. We talked about that last time. You cannot walk up and just smack somebody for something that they said that you disagree with or you feel hurt by. That's not the way to handle it. But do we give him a boy with you because he did that and now you're suffering the ramifications? Or do we give a boy with you to cancel culture that can cancel out this long resume and then also treat people somewhat unfairly, because in each case it's different. You know what I mean? There's people like Harvey Weinstein who they didn't cancel him. But Will Smith, they want to wipe him out.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts.
So I feel 50-50. This is going to be a 50-50 boy with you. Will is at a place, and I'm totally biased to Will Smith. I read the whole book, the new one. I read it in like a week. I love Will Smith. Shout out to Will Smith. I think at a certain point in your career, it is unfair, but at a certain point in your career, you have to know who you are at all times. And for Will Smith, it's like Michael Jackson, a couple other people, and like Will Smith. Like the world knows who Will Smith is.
Megastar.
He's a mega star. He's not just a star. He's a mega star.
Right.
The world knows Will Smith for the last 40 years almost.
Right.
And for him to crack under those circumstances on the biggest night of his career, it's kind of like a boy would you, like Will. Because we all heard the joke. We all have women in our lives. And that joke, to me, that's just not the joke to lose it all. If I'm going to throw it all away,
exactly,
it's going to be a little bit more harsh than that. For me to go up on stage, slap Chris Rock at a black produced show for the first time ever. So I was shocked. I was disappointed that Will let that be after 30 years of no incidences, this is the crack that breaks it.
Exactly.
So I gotta give Will, as much as I love him, a boy with you in that moment. But on the flip side, this is Will Smith. Will Smith is giving us jiggy with it. He's giving us Men in Black. He's giving us the first Grammy. He's giving us Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's giving us, as bad as it was, Wild Wild West. So this is Will Smith we're talking about. And in my opinion, you can't cancel Will Smith. You can't cancel him. He's done too much. So for this whole, we going to hold off on Will Smith. We're going to set Will Smith straight. We're going to give him 10 years. That's ridiculous. 10 years?
That's ridiculous.
Because it was, let's put it in perspective here. It wasn't political, what he did. It wasn't sexual assault, what he did. Right. It wasn't racist, what he did. He didn't do any of the cancel culture metrics. You know, there's certain boxes that you have to check in order to get canceled. He wilded out on stage. He slapped Chris Rock. He got up. The acceptance speech was kind of whack. He should have apologized in the speech. Yeah. You know, he deflected a lot with that speech. He didn't do himself any service. But in my opinion, trying to cancel Will Smith, it's ridiculous. I don't agree with it. He's not canceled in my book. So I'm going to give cancel culture a boy with you as well. That's my take on it.
There we go.
I'm not excusing what he did. He shouldn't have did it.
He still get a.
That's what I'm gonna give you.
All right, this last one is just more of a piece of news that is sad and it's terrible. yesterday or 2 days ago, man gets on the subway in New York. While it's in motion, he lets off a smoke bomb, and he starts shooting people. He shot 33 times in the middle of a filled up subway car. And, you know, when you hear that, you wonder, you know, first of all, the description at the time was he had on like a construction vest and a gas mask. Yep. They had a hard time finding him. Since then, they've located him. They have him under arrest. Turns out it's 62-year-old African-American male Frank James.
Yep, took a L.
62 years old. We're gonna obviously give him a boy would you.
Yeah, that's definitely a boy would you. That's definitely that one.
But let's talk about real quick as it relates to Will Smith and everything like that. What do you think about the mental health aspect of like America right now? We've been through so much, and it seems like a lot of these incidents are tied to people who are in a pressure cooker.
Yep.
For one reason or another, and then this is where they blow. Give us your thoughts on it.
Obviously, you look at this past couple of years and the world, but let's just focus on America. This COVID thing was not what we expected it would be from a mental standpoint.
We did not expect anything like this.
You know, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared the first couple of weeks when the world went silent.
Yes.
When you could literally hear how quiet outside was.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this might be the end of times. This might be what the 2012 was talking about.
Never seen anything like it.
You never seen, and in our lifetime, we never seen anything like it. So I think a lot of people started really realizing what mental health really is. For those of us who haven't had the stigma of like being diagnosed with a mental ailment. But right now we're at a real fragile time. And then of course, couple that with Donald Trump being president. Yeah. And like, he's totally mental. Like really, really fire started a lot of people who had different agendas. So when we look at a situation like a guy goes on a train, black guy goes on the train, we all looked at it. I was like, damn. At least that was me. I was like, damn, it got to be us. Goes on a train, shoots it up. He was doing YouTube videos and doing things like that. And it makes you really question not just mental health, but morality and how morality is intertwined into mental health and what we need to do. Now, especially in the black community, because we know growing up, just watching Comic View, mental health was always it was a joke.
Right.
It was something that only white people deal with.
Nothing we ever addressed.
And we all know we went to school with people who like, oh yeah,
something wrong
with screws loose.
You know, sis may need to talk to somebody, but it was never something we took seriously. So now for me, I don't have one yet, but I look at certain traumas and triggers that I grew up with that I've always brushed off as normal. I'm like, B, you might need to go get a therapist to talk about some of this stuff.
100%.
You know, that's part of the acting technique I coach is working through past traumas and dealing with these things. So I think right now, just as a collective, also, let me just harp on this. With the advent of social media, we become so desensitized to things. I just watched the killing of the guy in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
And I just watched it. And I kept scrolling.
And how are we numb to these things now?
You know? We're like, no, like we see so much death.
Yeah.
On social media, not even like, remember back in the day, it used to be like those little random sites that you had to
be there to see it.
Yeah, or you had to be there to see it.
Right.
Exactly.
But now it's just, I watch a booty shaking video. I watch 50 Cent. I see murder, booty shaking video, rapper, murder. We in a tight situation, all of us.
Yes, sir.
And it's beyond, I'm sorry, since you brought it up, I just want to talk about it in the black community. It's beyond church. You know, like our generation, our parents told us, you got to pray on it. You got to do that. I'm very religious. You know what I'm saying? My dad was a pastor. But in our community, in being black in America, we got to take it to the next level. We got to see psychiatrists. We got to talk to psychologists. We got to see therapists. We got to talk to counselors. We got to go deep into it.
Absolutely.
And that's my take on it.
We've talked about it on one of the other podcasts where, black men especially are taught to push through. Because you got to be strong, and it is what it is. You can't stop now. Just push through. But sometimes it's a matter of how much pushing through can you do
Yep.
before you're just permanently affected and you won't operate like you typically do.
Yep.
You know. So we're going to get that whole situation, the boy with you, and that's the boy with you for today.
Indeed.
All right. So next, we're going to get back to Mr. Brian Taylor.
Oh, right back. Okay.
All right. Grew up in Southfield, Michigan.
12 Mile.
That's a good school system.
Yep.
Solid upbringing. You mentioned that your dad was a pastor. So tell us, when did you start? When can you remember the earliest age that you started to take any interest in acting?
Yeah, I would say probably around you know what? 3 years old, Jackson, Mississippi, my auntie's house, my grandma Corrine's 70th birthday. I think it was her 70th birthday, like 92, 91. But anyway, we saw us sitting in auntie's house. That's my cousin, if y'all don't know who's watching TV. We're all sitting in auntie's house, and MC Hammer had just dropped, I Got to Pray to Make It Today. That used to be my jam. If I had an iPod back then, that would have been the only thing you would have saw on my iPod.
Because the church boys, you know, that was hip hop song that we could listen to.
Exactly. Exactly, right? So I'm in the center of the living room, and my mom was like, Brian, sing that song for grandma. And by this time, all the aunts, all the cousins, everybody sitting around. And I've never been really shy, honestly, tell you the truth. And like, sing the song for grandma. So I'm sitting there as, you know, little kid. I got the bang, the making today. All of a sudden, everybody started clapping. All of a sudden, I think my Aunt Jean was the first one. She took some money out and threw it at me like a stripper. And I was like, oh, snap. And then Aunt Niecy came. And then everybody started clapping and throwing money at me. So really, my first ambition was to be a stripper. It wasn't want to be an actor, but I saw this limelight, and I've always been a person for the limelight. I like attention.
Okay.
Like, I think I'm more comfortable in front of 100 people than I am in front of one. And from that very moment, I was like, I like this whole entertainment thing. And then being coupled with my mother was a teacher, so I go to school with my mom, and sometimes, you know, when I was staying with her, I would watch her perform for the room, because the world is a stage. Everything we do is a theater. When we go to work, we're performing. Absolutely. As actors, because we different people when we outside of work, right? I would watch my dad in the pool pit, and I would really be enthralled by his ability to be a puppeteer almost to the crowd. And I was like, man, I wish I had that power. Now, this is when I decided I wanted to be an actor. Denzel Washington, X. I used to watch all these movies when I was a kid. My dad, he never really had a filter on what I could watch. I saw Harlem Nights when I was like 4.
Okay.
But anyway, watching Denzel Washington as an actor in Malcolm X, I thought that was Malcolm X. It wasn't until like 1995 I found out Denzel Washington was Denzel Washington.
You thought he was at Malcolm X himself?
Yeah, I thought he was Malcolm X himself, because we did some Black History thing at school. I was like, oh, snap, that's the real Malcolm X? This guy's an actor? I was like, that's dope. That's dope.
Right.
And I think that was the first seed. But to answer your question directly, when I decided I wanted to be an actor, it was 7th grade. 7th grade, Music Man, Bernie Middle School. I can't even remember the character I played, but I played it, and a parent came up to me and was like, hey, you ever thought about being an actor? I was like, yeah, but no. She was like, you're a great thespian. I said, what?
Don't call me that.
Yeah, this true story. She's like, you could be a thespian. That's an actor. She started laughing and giggling. And if it wasn't for, her name is Tarita Darden. Tarita Darden, if you're watching this, that was who she was. Her parent, my friend Janae Darden's mother. If it wasn't for her saying, I think you have a bright future being an actor, I would never truly taken it seriously. But that is the moment that sparked. I was like, I'm going to be an actor.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah. I was going to say, what's the one experience you remember that said, I'm digging deeper into this acting thing?
That was it.
You named it. You named it. So that continued on. Did you, like, through school, did you take acting? Were you in the plays?
Yep.
Were you, or that's where you nurtured your talent?
So in middle school, my band teacher, he's like number 5, I want to say, on the R&B charts right now. Shout out to Randy Scott, saxophonist. He would always allow me to host the band concerts. And the very first time I got on that stage in front of like 300 people, he was like, Brian, just talk. And I just started improvising, doing the lines while I was improvising, and I saw the claps in the fields. Like I said, I'm an attention guy.
And Dad was a preacher, so you know how
And
to
Dad
handle
was a
crowd.
preacher, you know. So in my mind, you know, as a kid who doesn't have his dad involved, this is my attachment to my dad now. This is what I know as I get older. I'm like, oh man, the crowd's loving me, blah blah blah. And Mr. Scott from 6th grade to 8th grade let me host 8 concerts. So I wasn't even like necessarily acting. I was just hosting.
Wow.
I was just getting that attention. And when I got to high school, I was in a program called the Mosaic International Youth Theater Detroit, which is one of the most premier youth theaters in the country for kids. And when I got into it, auditioned with these, I didn't realize what I had because it was just something I played with. So I didn't realize the gift I actually had for it. Got in, got the lead role in the very first play. And these are kids who have been in the Mosaic for like 3 years. So now I'm feeling myself. Then some people come over from London. They film a independent film, got the lead in that. So I'm really feeling myself. Then got the third show. I get the lead in that. So I'm really feeling myself.
I mean, middle school into high school?
This is middle school into high school. This is 10th grade, what I'm telling you about now. So 10th grade, I'm really big-headed at this point. Arrogant to a point. Arrogant so much so that I'm like, man, I ain't going to college. I'm going to Hollywood.
Flat out.
I don't need to go.
You already know what you needed to do.
I know what I need to do.
You got your straight line path.
Yeah, school not for me.
Right.
Math, science, I ain't going to be no scientist. I ain't going to be no mathematician. I'm not going to be a social studier. Man, I'm not going to be an English teacher. I'm going to Hollywood straight out of high school.
Yeah.
That's what I believed.
Well, you had some confidence built. I mean, if I was in a movie in high school and you know, getting, you know, #1 leading roles
Off the rip. Though.
Off the rip. That's how you know it's God given, you know. So at what point did it become like a professional thing?
I want to say it became a professional thing. So right before, I got to get this whole story so it makes sense. Right before my first year of college, because I went to Eastern Michigan, the summer before I went, David came upstairs in my room. I don't know if you remember this, Dave. Came upstairs in my room. We was sitting in my room, and Dave was like, I'm like, Dave, I'm thinking about getting into Eastern, but I'm really like hoping that they let me in the Eastern because I had missed the whole summer program.
I'm thinking about it.
You know, I'm thinking about going to Eastern. So Dave, he sat down, and he was like, so what kind of student are you? I was like, Dave, you know, like I'm like a C student. He's like, you got some D's? I was like, a couple D's too. You know, I was like, I always been a smart guy, but I just didn't care. Right? I had AP classes and honors classes in high school. I just didn't care. So, you know, Dave was like, well, I think Eastern would be a good fit for you because he knew the culture of Eastern.
Yeah.
We were roommates up there.
Oh, you were the Eastern too?
We were roommates.
So you know the culture of
Yes,
Eastern,
sir.
right? So Dave was like, you know what? I think you'll thrive if you go to Eastern. So I get into Eastern, become a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to the bros. And Alpha is more like engineers, doctors.
So wait, what's the fraternity?
Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I was created at the Untitled Chapter, key number 316, Eastern Michigan University, spring 2008, Ace Club. But yeah, that's what I am.
So let me ask you a question about
Yes.
that. We went to Eastern and we got up there. You know, we kind of had a clique with us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? A lot of our high school people, and just we had a natural group. But we witnessed these guys who came up there from out of state, a lot of them, and this and this and that. And one week they were just regular guys, and then all of a sudden they had all these brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't really get it. So tell us about the fraternity thing. Is that something that you aimed for?
No.
Or how did that come into the play? How did that come into play?
Crazy story, man. Just my life is all divine intervention, bro. Like it's all divine intervention. Lupe Fiasco came to Eastern right when the student center opened up. And he was doing this thing in the auditorium. And like I said, don't put me on the mic because I'm going to go. I don't have any fear of that. So he was talking, asking questions. And I'm like, man, I just want to ask a question. Like, it was all these new girls in there. It was like September.
You wanted to show up.
I'm like, I got to show up.
This
so
is
I can,
time.
this is my time to make a name for myself on this new platform. So I stood up. I asked some goofy question. I don't even know what I asked, but me and him get into a back and forth where we're talking just like this. I said, what up, dapped him up, cool, sat down, made a scene, sat down. I'm walking out. Two of my fraternity brothers, Marcus Summerall and Brandon Taylor, they approached me. They're like, hey, man, you ever thought about being an alpha? I was like, no. It was like, you never thought about joining a frat? They're like, this college is what you, I'm like, nah, I'm already cool already.
Right.
You know, so I don't really need that. That's
right.
Because my perception of it, I was like, why would I get beat up to have friends?
Exactly.
That's for
what I thought.
dweebs. I
Never
was like, why do I
understood it.
need this? I don't need that. So, as fate would have it, my two best friends were pledging Alpha up at Michigan State. And I told them, I was like, hey, man, them little dweebs came up to me, bro. They asked me to get down with the frat. And they were appalled at the fact that I took such an opportunity so lightly. They're like, B, you really don't understand the opportunity that you're like pissing away. Like, they asked you to be in the oldest black fraternity in history, Martin Luther King's fraternity. And you talking like, I don't want to be it. So that kind of got my wheels to ticking. I was like, dang, maybe because these are my two best friends.
Started looking into it now.
You know, I started looking because these are the guys I
Antennas
trust.
went up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they got the best interest for me. So I go back to them. I'm like, hey, call them and pray Harold. I was like, hey, the fraternity situation y'all was talking about, like, can I still like come take a look at it? Can I check it out? They was like, yeah, be here at XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And from that moment on, the rest is history. So to answer your question, no, I didn't want to do it. It wasn't until I saw what it meant and what it could do for me that I was like, oh, this is a good decision. And I crossed at 19. I was 19 years old, so I was pretty young in college when I became Alpha. And when I say my life changed drastically for the better,
Really?
for the better, especially being in college, you know, we went to Eastern Michigan. Athletes are whack. So, like, our closest competition is University of Michigan. I think y'all can see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
It was a great decision
Okay.
for me personally.
Socially.
Socially, it was an awesome decision. But it also it opened other doors because it put me in leadership at the university.
Okay.
You know, I worked closely with the university president on several occasions. I had all types of ins and outs at the university and connections now because of
Okay.
Alpha.
Okay. Okay. So that's where it led to.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And this is a great segue actually into about professional, like how I decided to be acting
Right.
professionally. Alpha Phi Alpha is a fraternity of doctors, lawyers, engineers, career people who do like really profound things in their communities. So when I was in college, I didn't do much acting. It just stopped.
That's what
I
I was
didn't
gonna
do
ask you,
any.
okay.
I didn't do it because I was like I didn't want to be stigmatized as like somebody with a pipe dream. That you're in a prestigious black fraternity and you talking about being an actor. So I just didn't do it. Divine intervention. I started mentoring a young man who wanted to be an alpha. He was a poet. And he happened to know somebody, this guy, his name's Henry Franklin, who was an actor who had just got done working on Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, I do kind of want to be an actor. This is something I just told him in confidence. I hadn't really spoken out loud. And he was like, man, you need to connect with my homeboy, Henri, man. Henri just got off Days of Our Lives. I'm like, cool, connect us. Fast forward, connected us. Henri, love this guy, love his brother to death. We still good friends today. He was like, B, if you want to be an actor, bro, he's like, I've seen you do a few things. I think you're pretty good. Like, you should take it seriously. And if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Alpha, if it wasn't for Dave telling me to go to Eastern, I would have been Alpha. If it wasn't for Alpha showing me Ageline Wallace, that's who I'm talking about, who introduced me to Henri Franklin, I would have never been like, I'm about to go get an agent to be an actor.
Shout out to Easter for giving brothers on the edge a chance.
For real.
I was
Shout
like
out.
that. Trust me. I slid in there.
Yep.
Trust me. I get it. So you did more acting. The fraternity opened up some doors for you.
It did. Some unforeseen doors.
Okay.
And you developed a network,
Oh, yeah, huge.
right? Okay. And once you're in a fraternity, it's nation / worldwide, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Huge network.
So I'm sure they have their codes and ways where if you need something, you can reach out to this one or that one. And
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
Okay.
people are still people, but
Yeah.
for the
so
most
what
part.
was your first professional acting deal?
My very first professional one,
Not
literally
bad.
my very first audition that I got with my agent, I booked it. It was a Ford commercial. A Ford
Okay.
commercial shot right here in Detroit. And it was what you call an industrial commercial.
So hold on. We got to back up a
Yep.
little bit because we want people who are aspiring actors
Yep.
to know. First of all, I believe God has a plan.
Yes.
Right? It's never our plan. It's usually God's plan. It's always God's plans. That
Always.
So you you weren't looking to get into acting, but you knew that that's one of your innate gifts. Right?
Yeah, I wasn't actively pursuing it because I didn't believe it was a suitable career.
So through this curvy pathway, you got back into acting.
Yes.
You had some experience in it.
Yep.
And so you with the fraternity, you hook up with Henri,
Yep.
and so how does it get to the point where you're like, I should get an agent? Because you just went over the fact, I called my agent.
That's right.
You know, how do you get to, let's get to, how do we, okay, maybe I should hire an agent, or do you hire an agent, or how does that work?
So the agency here in Michigan, there's two of them. It's called the I Group and Productions Plus. So that's what you were reading off of. So those are my agents.
Okay.
Agencies, rather. And it was about, I'm going to say I graduated 2011. So from 2011 to 2014, I was doing like small little independent stuff, like small little plays. Did a show with Jack A. Harry, Clifton Powell.
2011 to 2014.
Yeah, 2011, 2014.
So wait, what year did you start at Eastern?
I started in 2006.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you did Eastern till
2011.
2011. So out of Eastern,
graduated, went to go have a regular job.
Okay.
I was working at a place called One Main Financial, giving out bad loans.
And then you was hustling your acting deal on the side.
Yeah, still like, doing small little stuff.
Okay.
But not enough that I felt like, should be the jump. Because my son was born in 2013.
Wow, okay.
So I really was uncomfortable with the idea of leaving the little job I had.
Right.
Telling my wife, my baby mother at the time, that I'm trying to pursue acting full time.
Absolutely, because we feel a sense of comfort, and when we have job security, meaning that if I go in, they're gonna send me a check. You know what I mean?
$650 every 2 weeks.
That's called job security.
That's job security
in our mind. It's very low risk and very low reward. So you had the job, and then you taking your whatever spare time you have, and you looking for community opportunities and wherever you can get in. Okay, so then so you had an agent.
Yeah, so I got an agent. 2015, I got an agent. That's when I finally had the cojones to go and submit my small little portfolio to my agency and got in.
Okay, so we like to, I want to break down how these things go.
Yep.
And so I know that once you get into certain worlds, especially acting world, it's always different kind of energies that's coming at you with people that you deal with, opportunities that might come your way. What would you say is your moral compass or guide as you enter in and out of these worlds? You said your dad's a pastor, so I kind of know what the answer is going to be. Mm-hmm. But what's your moral compass for things that you just will not do?
Yep.
Paths you won't take, or energies that come your way where you just feel like, I can't take that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What's your moral compass?
Well, first off, I always am of the belief that what is for me will be. So I'm never really at a point where I feel like I have to do something necessarily immoral to advance myself. Now, when it comes to what I will do and what I won't do, God is definitely
That's what I mean. Like, everybody has to have a rule book. It could be Islam, it could be Buddhism, it could be Christianity, it could be, but I feel like everybody should have some sort of rule book.
Yeah.
And so you say yours is
what I feel like will get me in trouble with the Lord. I feel like anything that I have to question my morality for, or one of my biggest things my mom always harped on was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's really one of my big codes in the way I live my life. So with that in mind, whenever I have anything that comes into question about profession, like what should I do with this acting thing, or should I step on somebody's toes to do something? Should I say something that I know might give me the advantage? I just can't do it. I just can't do it because I believe my footsteps are divinely ordered, and anything that I do that is not about that order is gonna knock me off that path. Because the way I look, I really honestly tell you the truth, Dre, the way I look at my life, I think about a lot of stuff, and I think about what has gotten me here, and simply what has gotten me here. It's just letting God take the wheel. One of them little cliches, I just let Jesus take the wheel. I just be here, Dre.
Yeah.
I just be in the passenger seat riding, bro.
I think that's very important, because, and I say that because I'm trying to get people to understand the example that we have here. Mm-hmm. Nothing happens by chance, right? No. And so I feel like in today's time, We call it Christianity. Somebody calls it Buddhism. Somebody.
Yes.
I just feel like you have to have a source because a lot of people are lost out here. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a source that you can rely on to give you that direction or that is really controlling you, then we're lost. That leaves us up to our own wisdom.
Yep.
And when you realize that everything that you tried ain't working out, what do you do then if you don't have a source? You know what I mean? So God as Jesus is taking the wheel, and then we've talked about it a little bit briefly. My next question was going to be, what are some of your personal characteristics or gifts? You know how you realize at a certain point, like, I can do this better than most people, or because a 3-year-old or a 6th grader or whatever, well, a lot of people are not comfortable in front of a crowd. Mm-hmm. So you spoke about it. What are some of your personal characteristics or gifts that would say have led you to this acting and, you know, being on stage and being in front of the crowd?
You know what? It's funny you said it because when I was in 8th grade, you know, they do mock elections and whatnot.
Right.
In 8th grade, I won Best Personality. So when I was 13, I realized, like, oh, you got an award-winning personality. Like, people really like you. Like, they like
just
your
off
energy.
being you. You're just
off
being you,
me.
and you got that award.
So that was the first one. When I was in 12th grade, what did I win? I won a social butterfly. So I was like, oh, okay, male social butterfly. I was like, oh, okay, you connect with people. People enjoy you being around.
Right.
So the 2 superpowers I know I had if I was a superhero, it would be my ability to speak to people, my ability to connect to people. I majored in communications for my undergraduate degree and my master's degree.
Okay.
Because I genuinely enjoy people. I genuinely enjoy connecting with people. I genuinely enjoy making people feel special. I always remember in preschool, Miss Nikki, shout out to Miss Nikki Kennedy here at Southfield. She used to always tell us that people will always remember how you made them feel. She was telling us when we was kids. And
that's very deep.
I take it seriously. People will, because I know, I remember how people made me feel. The good people and the bad people.
Yes.
And when people think of me, I want people to remember that I made them feel good. I made them feel special. I think I do have an ability, a God-given ability to make anybody else.
People call it energy now. You know what I mean?
I think I have a great energy. Because it's a genuine energy. I really like to connect people and have people feel good when I come around.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I really want people to feel like when BT come around, like it's a good time.
Absolutely.
And I discovered that in middle school and then doubled down on it again in 12th grade. That's what makes me me. Those are my powers.
And again, like I said, I want to highlight these points because what we're getting at is, the question is, how did we get here?
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of times when you look up and you say, how did I get here? These are the answers, man, because you're giving gifts. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a purpose for being on this planet. You're giving gifts. And I think the people that succeed are the people that pay attention to what their natural gifts are.
Yep.
And they work in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you were at a young age, you were wise enough to pay attention to these natural gifts and then to nurture them, you know? And I think that pushed you through middle school and high school and then into college, communications degree. A lot of people go to college, they don't know what they want to do. Yep. You know what I mean? So you got a communications degree, that's great. So you spent some time, so you worked in the Michigan area for a while,
yep.
plays and things like that. Eventually, you spent some time in Cali.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Special time in my life.
Okay, let's back up for a second. You had a son at what age?
25.
25. What age did you get married?
27.
So, a 25-year-old.
I'm tripping. I'm sorry. Wait, that math is all bad. My son was born in 2013. I was 25. I got married when I was 29 in 2017. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, let's make sure we get that right.
Tell y'all when a mathematician.
Wife is going to be watching this. You know, so, as a young man, you taking care of business. You got probably got your own spot at this point.
Yep.
And you're trying to do the acting thing. You have a baby. When a man is responsible and he takes care of his kids, that kind of puts another element into the mix.
Yeah.
You know, so you talked about how you had to manage through that.
Yeah.
So what year did you go to Cali?
2021, just last year.
Oh, okay, that's recent. So what led up to going to California? What decisions led you to? Is there something that was offered to you, or is that somewhere you were always headed, aiming to be? Yeah. Or how'd you get to that point?
I was always aiming to be there. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you. We got a good conversation. I was always aiming to be in California.
Okay.
I'm obviously Christian, but to a certain extent, there's a part of me that believes a little bit in reincarnation. And I think whoever had this spirit first was born in California. Because since I was a kid, this is going to be a good story. I'm going to give you this one. When I was a kid, I used to always watch Saved by the Bell and California Dreams. Y'all remember California Dreams?
Yes, sir.
And Power Rangers. All those shows are based in California. My 3 favorite shows as a kid. I even thought I was going to grow up and look like a white man. I thought I was going to be Zach Morris when I grew up.
He was so cool, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was so cool. I
cool.
want to be Zach Morris. I want to go to the max. I want to have a bad one like, Kelly Kapowski. So since a small age, I've always been like willing myself to California. At my elementary school, I would stand on the tower slide and just look out into the clouds as a kid. I would be up there by myself just looking out, just dreaming out to California. So fast forward, 2017, I get this job at Verizon. Really good job. I didn't know you made that much selling cell phones. I was like, I didn't even have to go to school. Nobody I worked with went to college, actually. I was like, why did I go? I could have just been here, making $70K a year flipping iPhones. So I was making money. My wife was finally being able to be like, okay, I'm relieving some pressure because my wife been working since she graduated. She always had a good job. So I was like, this is cool, doing the dad thing. Got great insurance. I could buy a car. I could do some stuff, make some moves. But I hated my life. Like, I hated my life.
You were not content.
I was not content at all. Put on crazy weight. Like, I hated every day. I was getting anxiety going to work, thinking about, damn, what is everybody else doing? Why do I have to walk in the Verizon? Dealing with crazy customers. But it was paying me, and I was able to make some money. It was like maybe a year into being at Verizon, really hating life, that a guy came in who owned his own real estate company. And I was doing my whole thing, put on a screen protector, doing my iPhone stuff, talking, customer service. He was like, you're really good at sales. You could maybe buy the whole store. Matter of fact, I want to buy two what's the brand? JBL speakers. He paid like $600 on these speakers. He was like, sell me these speakers. I'm telling him like, they good. They do this, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm sold. He's like, you ever thought about going into real estate? I said, no. He was like, well, what is it you really want to do? Because I know you don't want to be here. I was like, if I'm being honest with you, and it was divine intervention. I was like, I really want to be an actor. He's like, then what are you doing here? He's like, did you go to college? I'm like, yeah, I went to Eastern Michigan. He's like, okay, cool. He was like, well, in real estate, you can make a lot of money doing that. You can probably pay for some stuff to get out to California. That's what you really want to do. I was like, that sounds pretty cool. And I'm the kind of person, just like back to that story, Dave's like, you should go to Eastern. I'm like, good idea. Let's do it. Like, I automatically gravitate to it. If I think it's a good idea, is to do it. So he walks out, and I started investigating in real estate. I started seeing, what do I have to do to be a realtor? How much money can I make being a real estate?
So was he trying to pitch you something?
He was trying to pitch. Thank you for keeping me on track. Yeah, he was trying to pitch me for his. He owned the Keller Williams in Birmingham.
I want to say that guy's a beast.
Yeah, he owned the Keller Williams.
Verizon recruiting for real. You know what I mean? He's a beast.
That's a good point. I'm glad you
He's
brought
probably
that up.
successful.
Yeah, that's actually how he really pitched me to it. He was like, yeah, you come work for me. That's a big part of the story. Thank you, Dre. He was like, you can work for me. I have an office in Birmingham. I'm like, Birmingham. And I'm still thinking small, like, oh, yeah, I could tell people I'm a realtor at Birmingham. Because honestly, telling people I worked at Verizon was starting to weigh on me because I was like, I got 2 degrees. I'm sitting here telling people I work at Verizon. They don't know how much money I make. They just hear I sell cell phones.
Right.
And my ego was kind of starting to kick in. Like, I was making cheese, but it was like, the job don't sound big.
It wasn't a glamorous.
Yeah, I'm a glamour guy. I'm an accolades guy. So I was like, I need to be able to stun a little bit when I tell people what I'm doing with my life. Right? Especially being an alpha, the pressure was there. But anyway, I'm like, I could be a realtor in Birmingham. Started studying. Once I got deeper into it, I was like, wait, B, these houses, you can make like 5 bands, selling a crib. I was like, damn, I could come up with some money real fast to get to California. I was like, B, I'm in tune with God. I'm not Jesus or Moses or something, but I do recognize the burning bushes. Mm-hmm. I was like, this ain't about being a realtor, bro. This is about financing yourself out to California.
Start putting a plan together.
And I've never, ever executed a plan that took this long to execute because this was like 2018 because this didn't even happen until 2021. So for 3 years, I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to get out of Verizon for one. I got to figure out how to tell my wife I'm leaving this stable job that's bringing in all this cheese
That's a whole discussion in itself.
You know, to go take a risk on another risk. Like the risk is setting up the other risk.
And we're gonna get to that too because you mentioned your wife. We're gonna talk about her in a few minutes. Having a good wife, having a good partner, that's key to a man's success.
Oh, it's very key.
If you have the right one, that's key to your success.
Very key. So I do the real estate thing. Fast forward, take the test, get on Mark Z's team. First year was terrible. When I think I looked at my taxes today. It was like $11,000 the first year. I went from like 70 to 11. Big problem.
That's a big problem.
I'm like, how am I going to put this money together? Like, geez. So I started working his rental management company. So that brought in a couple more dollars, but I was still putting money away to do this California thing. I didn't know what was going to happen. One night, I'm sitting drinking Hennessy. I'm like, dang, this is not going right. But I was like, you know what? I need to do something. I got to make a play. Like, I just felt, you know, as a man, you feel like I got to do something. I'm going to go crazy. I got to do something. I type an email up to this woman named Ivana Chubbuck, who's my acting coach, who put me in the position I am today. I find her email online. I just type a random drunk email.
You didn't know her at this point?
Nah.
Okay.
I knew her book. I had her book for a long time because I worked with Tasha Smith from all the Tyler Perry movies.
Okay.
And it was like 10 years prior. I went to a camp. She's like, hey, you could work with Ivana Chubbuck, be a coach. But I brushed it off at the time because I wasn't listening to God at the time, right? So this is, 2019 actually? Yeah, it's 2019. I'm drunk. I type an email to Ivana Chubbuck. Like, hi, Ivana Chubbuck. My name is Brian Taylor. I'm an actor, shooting my resume, all this stuff. Wasn't expecting anything from it. Take another couple shots of Hennessy. I'm sitting there. My email goes, ding. Who's my email? I forgot that I had just typed this email. It's Ivana Chubbuck. I'm like, oh, this must be one of them automated messages.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I opened it up. No, bro. It's Ivana Chubbuck. She emailed me back like, hey, you know, if you're interested in this, you could do it. And I'm like, wait, what? This is her. We get to chopping it up. Turns out she's from Detroit. Okay. Had no idea. The woman on the book that I've been studying is from here.
Wow.
She actually grew up on 9 Mile and Telegraph, not too far from Southfield High. Right. So we get to chopping it up. She was like, yeah, I would love to have you come to L.A. This is 2019. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to do it. But I ain't got no money.
So this is a situation to be an acting coach?
To be an acting coach. To work with her as an actor and become an acting coach.
So she shoots you an email from California saying, yeah, we would love to have you. Come on out.
Off rip.
Okay.
It's only a few of us in the world. Off rip. She's like, you come do it.
She's going to give you some certification.
She's going to give me the certification. Off bail. Off one drunk email. I'm like, oh, snap. This is real, bro. But it's 2019. I'm broke. I have no money. The program was like $4,000. I'm like, I ain't got no cheese. And I can't tell my wife. She was like, you crazy. So like, what can I do? Then that's when I really started hitting the real estate hard. I'm like, yo, I got to start slinging houses. So fast forward to 2021, Dre, your original question, when I was in California. Could you ask me how did I get there or what we got there?
Well, this is what we wanted to know. How did you develop? How did that develop from being in Michigan to all of a sudden I'm going to Cali?
Okay, perfect. So like I said, I put a plan in place. I'm like, you got to do it, bro. You got to figure out how to get here. I never worked this hard in my life at executing a long-term plan. Because, you know, it gets real dark and lonely when you like, bro, that's far out. Like, you know, it's cool when I got a plan for next Friday, but when you got a plan for like 2 years worth of Fridays, you're real dark and lonely. So I stacked my cheese, made some plays. I finally hit Ivana up like, hey, I want to come to California. There's an offer still on the table. She waited for me for 2 years.
Did you stay in contact with her at all?
Yeah, I would send her emails like every 2 months or so. Okay. I didn't want to be too aggressive because I didn't want her thinking like, are you coming?
Right.
So I just sent her every follow-ups, like just hoping she still had the spot available. And she was like, yeah, man, I've been holding the spot for you. Like, I'm waiting for you. And like, if y'all don't know who Ivana Chubbuck is the woman responsible for Halle Berry's Oscar. She's responsible for Charlize Theron's first Oscar. A number of people have been nominated or won Oscars behind Ivana Chubbuck.
So what's her position? Like,
she's a world-renowned acting coach.
Okay.
She's Brad Pitt's first acting coach. Her list of clients is stupid long.
Okay.
Everybody in Hollywood has been to Ivana Chubbuck at least once.
And one night drinking Hennessy, you decided to email her.
I said, yeah, I gotta get my cojones, as Vince McMahon would say. And I just drunk and emailed her, and she emailed me back. So she's like, all right, B, you got your life together, come out here. Let me tell you something. This was my real Moses moment. I don't talk about this often. This is the Moses moment I had when I was like, God is talking to me if he ain't never talked to me before in my life. I hear him right here, right now. I've been drawn to California my entire life. I've been drawn to L.A., specifically Hollywood, my entire life. I get into her program. I'm doing well, doing a great time. My birthday comes up. My birthday is September 12th. I was standing in Hollywood on my 33rd birthday on Sunday. You know, everybody like, yo, Jesus' year is 33. Jesus died when he was 33. He was killed on a Friday. He was resurrected on a Sunday. I'm sitting there like, wow. I'm sitting in Hollywood on my 33rd birthday, feeling rejuvenated, feeling like a new me. I finally understand what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to be.
How did I get here?
How did I get here? Because God said, you just listen. Don't go off the path. Just listen. I don't care how crazy you get. I don't care how much sense it don't make. It don't make sense that I wrote a drunk email to one of the world's greatest acting coaches, and she emailed me back and said, B, come through. And I'm going to hold it down for you for 2 years till you get here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
And from the time you left Verizon till the time you in California, it was some headwinds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what I mean by that is some setbacks.
Many.
Right? What gave you the strength to propel on, to keep going, to stay focused? Because I'm sure there were some hurdles you had to jump, some hills you had to climb, some animosity you faced, right? Even if it's just negative connotation about leaving your secure job, your for sure money, your a paycheck that you can count on. You walked away from it. What gave you the strength to do that?
I was sitting at home one day. It's probably like I want to say December of 2020. Yeah, like we deep in the pandemic at this point, like deep in it. December of 2020, I'm sitting at the house, and I'm on the couch, and I'm playing Madden, and my wife comes out of the room. She had been working like all day. I've been sitting on the couch playing Madden all day. I ain't saw the house. I ain't showed the house. I ain't did nothing. Right before Christmas, Ashley walks out, and she just stares and looks at me, as she's done many times. I was minding my business. Like, I ain't about to look at her because I know the moment I make eye contact, it's like Jurassic Park. Like the dinosaur is going to eat you. So I'm sitting there, and she said, you know, we got to figure this out. But her tone was different. I'm like, this ain't a regular nagging. Like, so I paused the game. I look at her.
Pause the game. You gave her the respect of, I'm actually going to pause the game now.
Yeah, like I actually paused the game. So I paused the game. I looked at her like, what are you talking about? She was like, listen, if you can't figure your whole little life out and bring some more money here, like I could do this on my own.
Okay, so married in
2017.
How old is your son at this point?
4.
He's 4. How old is you have a beautiful son and daughter, right?
Yeah, she's not even here yet when the time he was born. She was born in 2018.
Okay.
So she's 2 at this point when Ashley says this to me.
Okay, you got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yep.
Things are real.
Things are real. And I'm
Things
gambling.
are real.
I'm rolling the dice every time on myself.
Exactly.
I'm betting on myself.
Exactly. First of all, let's talk about what your wife does, just briefly.
My wife has her own business. She is a college admissions consultant. So she basically coaches kids on their essays and what they need to do to get in prestigious universities. And she charges a lot of money to do so.
So, by nature of her career, she's the one that says, listen, you got to get some structure.
You need a plan.
You need a plan.
Yep.
And then she does that all day for kids and people coming up, and then she comes home to her husband.
And he taking risks.
Thank you for putting that in perspective for me. But yeah, that's what she does. She tells people they need to make plans.
That's what you told me.
I'm playing Madden.
But you paused it.
Yeah, I did
You paused it for her message.
Yes.
Okay, so, and I'm just going to say again, shout out to Ashley for holding you down during this time where you were figuring it out.
Indeed.
And then shout out to God for his plan, man, to have that woman next to you who's able to say, hey, you need a plan.
Yeah.
We need to get you into something. Just like she tells those kids, you headed to college, you got to figure it out. You got to put a plan together.
Yep.
Okay. So Ashley comes out, she puts the press on you.
Full court.
So how did she feel? Was California and acting, was that just, that's Brian's dream? Or she knew of the history of your acting, I'm sure.
Yeah, she knew of it. She knew it was my dream, but it's never something she intended to marry into. She
was looking for that serious point, like, okay, that didn't work out. Now I got this great job.
Yeah. That's the truth of the matter. That's the fact of the matter. Regular job, regular life. You come home 5 o'clock. You sit down. We here with the kids. We eat family dinner. We wake up. We do it over again. Like that was her idea of what I could be in the household.
Okay, which is not too far fetched.
It's not too far fetched. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. Like a lot of people live like that. I mean, that's cool.
And you know, real estate is one of those careers that it doesn't move itself. You can go into a real estate office for 80 hours a week, and if you don't kill nothing, you won't eat nothing.
That's exactly the game.
You won't eat nothing. So the realtors that I know that are successful are hustlers. They got media out there. They're marketing. They're hustling. You know, and so real estate was something that you do that you saw you could make some money in, but it was never your passion.
No, it was just a stepping stone.
Okay, so we'll go back to Ashley's conversation with you.
Yep.
Is that the night you sent the drunk email?
No, this was a year after actually. So I was kind of half stepping because I didn't believe in myself all the way, but I wanted it. But I wasn't executing at the level that she demanded that I do because I was.
You
kind
couldn't
of
hit her with the. Well, why not just go out to Cali for a while and try to? No, that wasn't gonna go over well.
Not at that moment.
Okay.
But it was that conversation that we had that I got a big ego, right? I got a really big ego. And I'm the guy that I'm going to do my best to prove you wrong, whoever you are. Like, even if I know, if you come to me, Dre, and you be like, hey, man, I'm telling you whack because I just want you to know. I really don't think you whack, but I'm just going to say you whack. You could tell me that you just messing with me, but I'm going to go out of my way.
Now you're going to know.
To know that that's not.
I'm super not whack.
I'm super not whack. So my wife, she knows the triggers. You know, and thank God for my wife that she knows the triggers to push. And she was like, you got to figure out a plan. I can do this by myself. I'm like, all right, so now I got to prove my wife wrong. Now I really got to go into motion.
Got to step it up.
I got to step it up. I have to step it up. And for those next 4 months, I went home selling crazy. I did like a little over $1 million in like 3.5 months, like in home sales. And it's really not a lot. But when you look at the number on paper, you feel like, yeah, I'm going crazy.
Anytime you see $1 million in anything,
you know
what I mean?
And I finally saved up enough money to get to California. And when I told my wife, like, hey, I'm going to tell Ivana right now that I'm coming, my wife didn't believe me. I sent an email right then and there. I said, Ivana, I got the money, I'm coming. Maybe like a day later, Ivana was like, cool, pay the money. I told my wife I'm about to pay $4,000 to go to California. She said, the hell you are? I said, no, I'm about to do it. She was like, you ain't going to no California for 2 months in COVID. I said, hold on, man. You just told me back in January. I gave her the date and everything. You know how women do? They tell you the dates. So you told me January 11th that this wasn't going to work out if I don't make a play. I was quiet for 3 months. I even stopped playing Madden for a certain period.
Wow.
Tough. I'm a Madden fiend, okay?
Wow, he gave up the Madden.
I'm a Madden fiend. The way Willy Wonka liked chocolate, that's the way I like Madden.
This guy means business.
I'm serious. So I'm like, yo, you told me what I needed to do. I'm in a position to do it. I'm about to make the play. And that was a whole, I don't know if you want to go into that right now, but that was a whole thing.
Well, we can imagine, because that involves leaving her here.
2 kids.
With 2 kids.
Yeah, and a full-time business.
And a full-time business.
Yep.
While you go out to Cali.
Yep.
Chasing a far from a guarantee.
Yep.
Okay, so when you go to Cali, you're investing in this acting school.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to teach you to be an acting coach. Is there pay associated with that?
No.
There's no pay associated
with that. You got to
pay
for the class. You have to pay to be there in California for 2 months.
For residence in California.
For 2 months.
So it was a 2-month deal.
Yeah, it was like, it came out like $10,000.
That's considerable.
Yep.
Considerable. So, well, that speaks to how much confidence a person has. And when you take a gamble like that, especially when you're married and you have children, you got to put everything behind it. You have to put everything behind it. So you get out to California. So California was planned as a 2-month thing.
Yep.
Okay. You go out to California. For people that, again, are aspiring actors, what's the reality of landing in California and going into this acting school? Is it, first of all, what dreams and, like, what did you hope to achieve out there? How did you want it to go down ideally?
Let me ask you a question a different way. You're on the airplane.
Yep.
And you're getting ready to land.
Yep.
What is your expectations?
Well, first of all, I was scared as hell. Like scared like a kid scared. Like the idea of, I was like, wow, bro. It's one of them things where people like, when you about to realize your dreams and like you've been wanting it for so long, and then it's like right in your hands. It's like you got the game, you done dreamed like I'm gonna hit the buzzer beater at the end, and I'm out there actually about to hit it. I was like, oh snap, this is really about to happen, bro. So my expectations getting out there before that plane landed, before they were like, okay, we're landing, it was like, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna meet Ivana, I'm gonna be in the class. Cause you had to act out there too. I had to act 3 times a week. So I was like, I'm gonna be actor. You know, I'm gonna meet all these people. Somebody gonna see me on side from the coach, and like I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna bump into some celebrities and whatnot. Cause I have like a innate ability to bump into celebrities. But anyway, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna figure out how to find myself in these 2 months and get Ashley to want to move to California, and we're gonna start anew right here in California. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna make a name for myself. That is what my expectation was.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out here and put my gift to work. I got to get together. I'm gonna work my way into the rooms.
Yep.
I'm Mr. Personality from high school now.
Yep.
Don't forget. Let me get out here and show and let me prove it, right?
Yep.
So you get out to Cali. What's the living situation out there for 2 months?
Staying in an Airbnb in like a back lot, a little 1-room Airbnb. The floor was like almost made of dust and dirt. The door was almost like a bed. My front door was like a bedroom door. It had like a gap that big. And if you ain't ever been to LA got some really big roaches, like in the streets. Like LA is just full of roaches.
Wow.
So I always had to put something under my door. But yeah, I was staying in the back. Like LA has a lot of little houses. You know, they do the guest house things like on Bel Air.
Yeah.
That's like really common though. Like regular people have guest houses. So I was staying in a guest house. And I had like a little mini electric bike that I rented for 2 months. That was my transportation.
You had to go back and forth from these acting deals and all like that. You ain't putting no side work out there, obviously.
No, there was no time. I was literally in class from sun up to sundown, 7 days a week.
All right, so we'll talk about the victories out there later, but give us your first reality check after you hit LA. Like, am I going to be able to pull this off?
Bro, this is my first reality check. So I get settled in, yada, yada, yada. I go to class. My very first, I was taking a beginner class, an advanced class, and a master's class.
All at the same time?
Yeah, all at the same time, on top of learning how to coach. So I was acting in 3 classes, so I had to do 3 scenes a week, and I had to take all these other classes learning how to coach. It was the most rigorous thing I've ever had to mentally endure. Because, like, you know, like, this serious level acting, this is like I said, she's an Academy Award-winning coach. So all the stuff you do, it should be an Academy Award-winning level. And
plus, it's a blessing to be there, obviously.
And it's a blessing to be there because everybody doesn't get selected who asks to work with her. There's a small number of coaches in the world who get selected into this program. So the pressure, like, I got to prove myself that I'm supposed to be here as a coach. I got to prove myself as an actor because I'm coming from Detroit. Everybody from LA, they already got a stigma about actors, like, in the Midwest.
Right.
And then I'm like, I got to prove myself to my wife and my family that I made a good decision by leaving my family for 2 months to go across the country to pursue a dream, whatnot. So my very first reality check, I'm in beginning acting class, and I did a scene. I got off the plane, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of tired or whatnot, and I had to be at the class the next day at like 9 a.m., like something crazy. And I get in there with a beginning actor because I teach a technique. It ain't just acting. This is a specific way to do acting. And I get washed. I get washed by this beginner actor, bro.
Really?
And the pressure, I'm like, dog, they gonna tell me to go home, dog. I'm gonna go home the first day. I done got out here and spent all this cheese.
So y'all did a scene together?
Yeah.
And he's out acting you.
Going crazy on me. But it was really because of the jet lag and my nerves was getting me.
Okay.
That's what it was. And I'm like, dog, bro, just watch me. He just started acting. Not even just technique, he just started acting. I was like, I ain't gonna make it. I was like, I got 2 months out. I was like, I'm not gonna make it, dog. And it was just I just had to get a grip on, like, yo, God put you in a position that you can triumph. Like, the trial and tribulation is there, but he put you in there so you can triumph from it.
You're here for a reason.
I'm here for a reason. Like, they chose me. It's like that Martin episode you ever used to watch Martin when he was trying to get that job for the talk show. It's like, Gina, they called me. And I had to remember that, like, she called me.
So you go back to the Airbnb. You got the FaceTime with the wife, like, oh yeah, it was great.
Oh yeah, I told her everything's going crazy. They love me out here. It's
Okay.
It's going swell.
So you got washed by this beginning actor. This is the first situation.
Very first acting class I got out there.
Washed you.
Scrubbed up, rubber-dubbed up. Get him out of here, coach. That was the first thing that made me, like, really shook me.
So now you gotta say, how bad do I want this?
Yeah.
At this point, everything's riding on it.
Yeah.
Because you gotta eat a lot of crap if this don't go right.
Oh, if this don't go right, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. I that's why I told myself in that space, in that Airbnb, I said, if this don't work out, you gotta go back to regular life. I said, don't talk about acting no more. Don't do nothing. Don't talk about coaching. You gonna go find yourself a regular gig, and it's gonna be the end of it. The dream is done. This is the biggest stage I've been on at this point in my career. If I can't show up here, don't show up at all. It's just a wrap.
So when did the sun start coming from behind the clouds out there?
It was probably the following week. 'Cause after that, I was just doing classes, just taking notes. You don't know anybody out there. It's like being a new kid in school. I haven't had that experience literally since kindergarten.
Are these huge classes? Are they small situations?
Like 30 people a class. And
Okay.
I'm going on average like 3 classes a day. Getting my bearings in California because I don't know where I'm at. You know, like I'm a fish out of water.
Right.
I'm in a new place and I'm in this new technique, and I feel like I got to prove myself to every actor in every single class, even the beginner actors.
And then there's that feeling. California's huge.
Right.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can sink or swim. A lot of people out there are trying to do what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and you feel like, dang, I'm like 1 in a million out here.
I'm
right?
1 in a million, and I'm at one of the premier studios in the state. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be a coach to teach this technique.
All right.
So I feel like I got to prove everybody. So it wasn't until a week later, and the technique I coach requires you to tap into trauma and current things that are going on with your life. That week, me and Ashley got into an argument about something, and this first scene I had to do was y'all seen? Have you the play Fences? Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
Okay, that's that Denzel Washington movie they just did with Viola Davis.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that last one he did where they, you know, it's like based in the 50s. I had to do a scene from it, and I used what we were going through in that week. I never used it in a way that it was happening. It was like right on time. I was actually praising my wife, like, thank you for pissing me off because I was able to do this. And I went in, bro, and I'm not going to hold nobody up when I say this. I murdered it. I killed it. Because my ego was riding on it too. And I was using something from my real life experience. And the class was silent. And it's like 2 types of silence. It's like silence when you like extremely whack and nobody wants to really like disrespect you. And it's silence when people are they're just in awe.
They're captivated by
They're
you.
captivated by you. And I heard that captivation. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this for the next 7 weeks. I'm going to do it because I like attention. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. I didn't get that last week. I got washed up. They told me to sit down. But this week now I got y'all. So now I got
some courage out there.
I got some courage out there. Now I could do some things. Now I know where the grocery store is at.
Okay.
Now I know where the burger joint is at. I'm cool. I'm good out here.
I'm an actor in Cali.
I'm an actor in
out
Cali.
here. I'm out here.
That's what it was. That's
Nice.
literally what it was.
Good feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are the calls back home like?
Right.
Man, every single night. First off, you know, the kids want to talk to you. Dad, what you doing? I miss you, blah, 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 blah. You get that, you know, the small talk out of the way with the kids. Wife want to know what you do all day. Where
Right.
you at? It's COVID. Did you go anywhere? Don't go into the store without a mask. I know you're talking to people out there. Put a mask on. My wife, it's never been like a situation where she's like, are you talking to women? I'm a pretty chill guy. I lived that life in college.
She knows you by now.
She knows me
since,
by
you
now.
know.
You know, I've been through those roads. I'm not looking for those roads anymore. I've been through the pain and heartbreak of living that life. So she wasn't concerned with that so much. But her thing, like literally every day, was you better prove me wrong. And she supported the idea, but she was against it though, because she didn't want to be at home with them kids for 2 months alone in COVID.
That's tough, man.
It was really tough.
That's a tough call.
Because I can't do 2 days by myself with the kids. And we just had a dog. Our dog was a puppy at the time.
Man.
So we had a brand
That's
new
a tough
dog.
call, man.
It's asking a lot.
it's asking a whole lot from your spouse to do that by
How
themselves.
much support did she have back home?
She
Did she have
had-
like a sister that moved in, or like a mom that was there all the time, or?
No, it was like my mom helped when she can. Her mom helped when she can. Her uncle helped when he can.
How
but
old
for
are
the
the
most
kids
part,
at this point?
Kids are 27 and 2.
Virtual school?
No, it's summertime.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. No. Because
Chad.
I was going for all September, so that first month was virtual school.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she was going through it.
Shout out to Ashley.
Yeah, she held it down. She did. She did.
You gonna get a Kevin Durant speech one? She the real MVP.
Oh, she
out
the
here.
real MVP, man. She the real MVP. Helped me because like I didn't know how to do because I didn't have a car out there, so like grocery shopping was a real issue.
On
So,
the scooter.
yeah, like in the school, like I'm out here with like 2 bags at a time going back and forth to the grocery store. So she set me up like this is how you do this ship. Like I came back home, groceries was out there. She taught me how to do my laundry. My wife was like my second mom. And she really stepped up and looked out because I would have struggled out there without her helping from afar, just
Nice.
logistically.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's what the cause is back home. Like you better wear a mask. Like,
Yeah, at that time, I mean, there's so much going on, and you're out here
You're 3,000 miles away.
yep,
taking a
And
shot,
it's a global pandemic.
yep.
and there's also no
Risk on
income
the
coming
risk.
from that.
Yeah. Risk, the 2 risks. Risk squared.
Yeah,
The risk for the risk.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So in life, we know that no risk, no reward.
You know what I'm saying?
This is where you took your shot. So just as a upcoming actor and everything like that, give us one piece of advice that you could tell, because nowadays social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got a new career out here, by the way. It's called being an influencer.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You could build a page and get a lot of viewers and this and that. Give us one piece of advice for a young person that's trying to come up and they really want to take this thing seriously. They're considering maybe going out of state to do it. What's the realest thing you could say to them about either what you did right, what you could have did different, or what you did wrong in taking this trip to Cali and everything that you did or learned or what?
I would say this. The first thing that they need to do is to continue to train. A lot of people get into acting. One person, like my situation, one person told them they're good at acting and they just think they can just jump into this thing, and it's filled with a lot of disappointment after that because it's like a muscle. It's like anything we do, we have to train in it. And
Yes,
people,
sir.
for some reason, think acting is just like something you can play with, but it's not. So you got to be committed to training and understanding what you're doing. Now,
I just lost mics over here. Okay.
Oh, we good?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I would say I did wrong is I was ill prepared in the fact of what it takes. Oh, I lost the mic. I did. You're back. Okay. What it takes to be a professional actor. So I would say anybody who's really thinking that they're serious about this, do your research on like agencies, headshots, training, looks. You got to look a certain way. Like it's a lot of in-depth things that go outside of just saying to be or not to be that goes into acting. Now, I will say this is what I did right that every actor has to do. And I think every person has to do. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your ability, even when the people. I think one of the things that the devil does, and I ain't trying to turn into TD Jakes on you, but one of the things that the devil does, is that he takes the people closest to you, the people who love you the most, and uses them to project and instill fear in you because they care about you,
Right.
and they don't want to see you fail. And like your friends, your parents, your spouses, your children, even because their love for you. They'll tell you, like, maybe you should think about it, or maybe you should do this first, or maybe you should, have a plan B, or maybe you should wait a little longer. All these safe family things. And when you do that, this is how I feel. You tell a guy that you don't believe in the power that he can take in your life, what he can do. I had no idea where I was going to stay in California. I had no idea how I was going to get to California. I had no idea what was going to transpire in the 2 months that I was going to be away from home. But I was like, you know what, bro? My burning bushes is starting to add up, and I can't keep denying God's blessing. I just got to take the risk and just do it. It was literally one of the scariest things I've ever had to do.
It's going to be. anytime you take a risk like that.
Yeah.
And nothing that is worth it comes easy.
Yeah.
Without nothing that's worth it comes without a challenge being met. And you took that risk, man. That's commendable. Honestly, that's commendable. Because I'm married. Dave is married.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts a lot of pressure on a situation. So whenever you put that pressure, it's got to come out as worth it at the end.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think that's real commendable that you were able to take that jump. You went out there and you made some lemonade out of it, too.
Oh, yeah, big time, man.
You made some lemonade out of it. And so your advice would be to train. That's with anything, though, I would say.
Yeah, that's just
general. A lot of
general.
kids that watch these
train.
hoopers on TV, like we were talking about, Steph Curry just throwing up threes. Kids want to come out and just throw up them threes. No, that's not just by chance.
No,
that man
bro.
They put up millions of shots. You know
Millions.
And so a lot of us look at acting and look at people on TV and be thinking like, oh, I could do that. Or I'd be a cooler version of that. I could do, you know what I'm saying?
But
a lot of people look.
Yeah,
But the I guess the hard thing about acting or good acting would be to not be showing that you're being calculated and trained. You got to seem natural, but everything that you're doing is really calculated and it's kind of choreographed, but you're making it look natural.
Yep.
So that's
a skill that's developed.
Yeah, there's definitely a skill. I never really looked at it like that. Because I think I could get up there and do it, man. I don't know.
Because think about this right now. Name 5 actors.
Denzel, Will, Tupac, Bill Cosby, and Jerry Seinfeld.
Now, look, you just named all the people who made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
Them the first 5 that probably in your head.
You named stars.
You named all the stars. It's like 300,000 actors that are on TV every day. It's like it's a stupid amount of actors.
Absolutely.
Who will never ever attain that type of success, who are dogs at what they do. Absolute animals who will get on any
those
stage
guys
and
that's
murder.
on the bench on the Lakers, they still will beat you to death on the hoop court. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Those guys that you see in the commercial that just walk past in the back of the commercial, he's working at it. You know
That's what I'm
mean?
saying, bro. It is people who are extras in them commercials who are theater trained Juilliard actors, and people think you just hop on, you can just do it.
Okay.
Or you get lucky and somebody notices you. And
Yeah,
then
you
just
get
take off
lucky and
from there.
somebody notices you. That's like, sometimes that can't. That's like, a once in a lifetime chance. I ain't gonna say it doesn't happen, but the people you see in the background just doing like this, the fools paid thousands of dollars to go to school to learn how to be an actor.
Yeah.
They put it out there.
Right.
They put it out there. You literally cannot get cast in a commercial like that without having an agent either.
You know what's interesting? If you take let's use a bigger name. If you take like a Kevin Hart, you see where he is now. He's golden. Anything he touches is going. But if you just look back at how much stuff he had to do, like the smaller roles that you didn't even know he was in that movie.
There's several movies that he has that I didn't even know he was in, and he was like leading actor.
Yeah, you ever saw Paper Soldiers?
No.
I heard of the movie. I never watched it.
That's what I'm saying. Kevin Hart's hilarious in it.
And in his lifetime, he felt like, this is my first leading role. I'm about to go kill this. He did it. It didn't blow up. It didn't catch fire like that. I mean, now you'll look better. Like, you'll look back at it now because, this is Kevin Hart. Let me go check this old one out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But just think about how, if you, in any actor, who was, the other day, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
I wish I had a Googler here right now because I'm sure that he's been in, it's got to be over 60, 70, 80 movies.
Probably more than that. He's been a ton.
I mean, I'm sure almost.
Yes.
Because if you look back at movies from the 80s, man, and think about Coming to America.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He had to audition and get that role.
Yep.
And in that little bit of time that he flashed on the screen, now that you look back and you know who Samuel L. Jackson is, if you look on the screen, what's this? Okay, so Samuel L. Jackson.
At least 153.
At least 153 movies.
Yep.
And he can look back at his career and be like, that was a horrible movie. I wish I never did that. But at that time, you just wanted to eat. Just wanted to be on the screen. But if you think about Coming to America, that flash that he was on the screen, he showed his little character. You remember, you know that him,
Yeah.
you know him now as that, but he showed his little bit of his uniqueness. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, brother, for going out to Cali, man, and this path that you're on. Again, that's one of the things where you can say, how did I get here, man?
Yep.
So from Cali, you came back to Michigan.
Yep.
And so give us some thought on so you saw California where there's an opportunity out there.
Mm-hmm.
You could be anywhere and somebody could notice you.
Yeah.
There's, if you really want to do auditions, you could probably do an audition every day of the week if you
Definitely.
out there if you wanted to, right?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So you lived that excitement for a brief moment where there's opportunity, celebrities you could bump into at the restaurant, anywhere.
Yep.
And then you come back to Michigan.
Yep.
Michigan is a very domestic type of place, like meaning
Very blue collar.
family, blue collar. I mean, we have our share of flash, but it's not compared to LA.
No.
You know what I mean? So you come back here and you have this training behind you now. You stamped in a way.
Yep.
So what do you do with that here?
So as soon as I got back, literally, I got back September 26th, and the first week I was at home because I left my PS5 here. I played Madden for a week straight because that's where I get my best thinking time is playing Madden in the shower on the toilet.
That's your therapy.
Oh, deep. That's my counselor. That's my minister. That's everything. So I played. I'm like, man, B, how are you going to reintroduce yourself? How are you going to reestablish yourself? The first thing I was like, okay, I got to change the name of what I was doing because I started the Detroit Action Society in 2015. Oh, I'm sorry. I co-founded it with my sister. My sister is the originator of it. I'm stealing her. I'm pulling a Michael Jackson move on her. You ain't Tito, Brandis. But so I co-founded that 2015, and look, this is one of my California homeboys calling me right now. Actually, he probably gonna tell you about this movie with Michael B. Jordan he's doing.
Wow!
Shout out to Sean Singleton. But anyway, I'm like, what are you gonna do? I was like, okay, you got to rebrand. Jay-Z is one of my favorite guys, and here's why. Because if you ever have really noticed Jay-Z, he moves at a fast pace. Like he'll do something for a couple of years. Once it's over, it's over. He moves on to the next. Once it's over, it's over. He just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I was like, you know what? The Trash Society, it's time to move on from it. It's time.
You got
for
new
a rebuild.
energy now. You
I got
back
new
from
energy.
Cali. You done seen some stuff that motivated you. Got new energy.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was at. I was like, I got to do something different. So for like a month, I just sat and plotted and planned what was this different thing going to be.
You played a lot of Madden.
Played a lot of Madden to the point where Ashley was like, you ain't doing nothing. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm planning, man. You just got to let me go through my motion, man. I just sit up, just chill. So for a month, it probably wasn't until like mid-October, I was like, Eureka, Detroit Drama Studio. And Ashley helped me come up with it too, but it was still my Eureka moment, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to craft my class in the same way Ivana does, and I'm going to bring this to the city. So I started going on Instagram. First place to reach people nowadays is social media. So I started pubbing on Instagram, like coming in January, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm a communicator. So, I talk to you. I know y'all two going to talk to 4 people going to talk to 8 people going to talk to 16, yada, yada, yada. So I started drumming it up, almost like an album release drop in the early 2000s. Like I'm just going to gas it up. Like,
So what are you building at this point?
at this point, I'm just building a buzz.
You're saying what's coming in January.
Yeah, I'm saying classes. I'm opening the Detroit Drama Studio, training the Ivana Chapter technique. I'm the only certified coach in the Midwest. I'm going to start teaching actors.
So did you rent out a space, or how does that work?
So this is crazy, right? So the entire time I was doing the Detroit Action Society, I was always getting offered free spaces. But when people give you stuff for free, they can take it back whenever they want to.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, man, this ain't going to work. So one of my good friends, Lamar Woodley, former Pittsburgh Steelers, Michigan legend, he was like, B, you can always look. If you need something, just ask me. But one thing I got is an ego. Another thing I got, I'm like, I just can't be asking people. So like, if I ask you for something, just me in general, if I ever ask you for anything, just know I need it. Cause I ain't gonna ask you for a right arm if I got my left.
Right.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna hold that in my pocket because you know what I'm saying, you a good connect. I ask you for something later. So I was like, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna have this space. I don't know where the way God works. people got wind of I'm trying to do classes. Random people just started hitting me up. Hey, I got a space. 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 They weren't in the locations that I really wanted to. Now, my wife, let's go back to my wife. When I get back in September, my wife is the first one like, you could go to this Bamboo Royal Oak. Like, they have a really nice space there. I'm like, Ashley, shut up. That's not theater space. I ain't doing it. Nah, I ain't doing it.
You don't see my vision.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. Really, that's what I was on. I was really like, you don't see my vision. Like, you don't understand. It has to be a theater space. It has to have a stage. It has to be this. But that ain't the way God work. God work like, listen, bro, theater is going to be wherever you at. You the coach. You certified. People going to come. If you go do it in the basement at your cousin David crib, people are going to show up. So finally, I couldn't find anywhere that suited me. I felt. Ashley was like, I told you need to check out Bamboo Detroit. So I begrudgingly went to Bamboo Detroit, Bamboo Royal Oak, rather. I walk into Bamboo Royal Oak. Turns out the person who is the administrator there who assigns all the event spaces is an actress who used to take Detroit Actors Society classes who had moved to Texas, but that just happened to move back. And I didn't even know she was back in town.
Because God got a plan.
I walk in, she's sitting at the front desk just like this. I'm like, Amanda. She's like, Brian, what's up? I'm like, I thought you was in Texas. She was like, no, I run this space. What you doing here? I was like, well, low key, I came to check out, see if y'all had like a space for acting classes. She was like, I need people here. Like, yes, we have a space. We have a space in the basement. She takes me out in the basement. The basement ain't a basement. It's like this. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no basement. This is a whole family room bar. That's what the equivalent is at Bamboo Royal Oak. I walked in. They had a stage down there. Small little stage. Really lavish. They had the kitchen, the seats. They had everything. And it was new age. It wasn't what I was thinking I needed. Y'all ever seen that meme with Jesus? He got the teddy bear and he talking to the little girl with the raggedy teddy bear. He like, just give me that. And he got the new one behind his back. This is literally what it was. I was like, man, this is what Detroit Drama Studio is. We're not traditional.
That's deep.
I was like, man, I was trying my hardest not to come here. And the whole time, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Yeah. She told me this is where you need to be because God was using her. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm like, no, God, I don't want that. I don't want the helpmate to give me the help. Right. I want to find it on my own.
I got to show her.
I can do it on my own.
I went to California.
Yeah, that's what I was on.
I know what I'm doing.
I know that's literally what I was on. I know what I'm doing. To win in LA, they told me how I need to do it.
We men, man.
We men.
You know?
And I got to that space. I was like, this is it. I was like, this is it. I called Ashley right there. I was like, you was right, bro. Like, this is it. My homegirl, Amanda Sweet, shout out to Amanda Sweet at Bamboo Royal Oak. She put me together. And for right now, that's where we're holding classes at. Because, look, I told my homeboy Lamar we're going to say much, but I'm going to say much since we on TV. He's opening up a brand new spot downtown Detroit where we're going to eventually move to. We'll be downtown Detroit because I'm the Detroit Drama Studio. I want to be in Detroit as the title. Yeah. So we're going to move down there later this year. But for right now, I'm at Bamboo Royal Oak. Shout out to Bamboo Royal Oak. I love Bamboo Royal Oak.
So for those of you paying attention, if you would like to be serious about your acting, you're going to need some coaching. Yep. You're going to need some training. And this is the guy.
Yeah. I am the guy.
Certified. He went to California. He's certified.
In the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
So.
I got one.
All right.
So. Detroit.
Yep.
Has a
stigma.
A stigma for being behind. Okay. However, in hip hop, Detroit right now is a hot spot.
Real hot,
right? It wasn't always like that. Acting or cinema or movie production isn't strong here. Mm-hmm. A few years ago when the governor, Jennifer Granholm was the governor, there was some tax credits that was being offered. Some people had some interest.
Came through.
You got it. Some things happened for the state of Michigan, right? She leaves office, tax credit goes away, everything goes to Atlanta, right? Eventually, the opportunity is going to come back here, right? Because the talent is here. The hip-hop community is proven that the talent is still in Detroit, right? It went dormant after Motown left.
Yep.
Right? But the talent is still here, right? In 5 years, 10 years, where do you see this region for media and acting and performance and theater and cinema?
One, it's going to come here. It's going to come back in a major way. Like it's not a hope. It's like that's the trajectory of where everything is going.
It's starting with you right now with what you're doing.
I'm
You
gonna
are
be
definitely
a pillar.
on the cusp of it.
Right.
Like I'm gonna be a pillar.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I'm not saying that to be arrogant or egotistical. I'm gonna be a pillar because one, if you go on Amazon right now and you type in acting books, the method I teach is gonna be one of the top 3 that pops up because it's one of the biggest ones in the world. And
What's the name of that method?
it's called The Power of the Actor by Ivana Chubbuck.
The Power of the Actor.
Yeah, The Power of the Actor. It's the Ivana Chubbuck technique. The independent film market in Detroit is starting to heat up. If you go to Tubi, you know, it's a lot of little movies on there. So like they're like leading Tubi right now with all the little independent films that are on there. The music industry, or like we just said, it's already proven that talent is still here. The tax incentives that were once here, somebody's gonna get an administration, and start to work on that stuff. We're gonna get people here because Michigan's a great place to film. Like we have tons of nice locations, tons of historic places. So in the next 5 to 10 years, especially first off, let's talk about we just got the NFL draft.
Yeah.
What else did the Lions just get? They just got something else. I can't remember. The same day they got the draft and something else. Hard Knocks. They got HBO. They got Hard Knocks on HBO. We got the talents and the sports coming back. The city is starting to get a light on it in a major way in different angles. So when we talk about 5 to 10 years down the line, I see Detroit being a hotbed. It's almost like New York was, during the Harlem Renaissance. That's what we're in. We're in a Renaissance period. People are doing their own podcasts. People are on social media doing all types of stuff. People are making their own music. It's coming. It's coming in a major way, and we're gonna get the respect that we've been due for a real long time.
So you see some actors coming through your training.
Oh, definitely so.
And being able to capitalize on some great opportunities here versus having to train them and then send them out to New York or send them out to Cali.
Yep. And like, for example, like my homeboy Lamar Willie, his production company is called Area 56 Entertainment. Now Lamar, he made a lot of money playing. He could literally go fly some actors in from LA to do all this stuff. But he's trying to do local work with local talent and use his reach to expand it, and we're getting more and more of that coming here. Because for right now, it's really cheap to do anything here. And I mean, just go downtown. Just look at the way downtown has changed in the last 15 years from what we remember it looking like.
It ain't so cheap down there.
And it's not so cheap. I just drove past a spot over by Easter Market that started at like $500,000. I was like, what? In the Cass Corridor.
These are areas
stuff
that
over
you
there.
could literally, you were scared to drive through. The homes over there weren't worth. You can't afford to buy a decent home down there now.
Now it's like, dang, I really can't even be there. I can't be in the Cass Corridor no more. My money don't stretch down here.
Right.
So that alone gives me hope and lets me know that we're about to see a Detroit that we've never seen in our lifetimes, and Hollywood wants to come here.
Well, so we see you being on the cusp of it, man.
Oh yeah.
And that's why we started out the interview by saying that you're trying to break ground, because it hasn't happened yet, and there's very few people that will look at trying to develop something acting wise and show time and like out of Detroit. You know what I mean? We have a lot of rappers and things like that. I think you've taken things to another level. I think your experience in California has zoomed out your lens.
Yeah, definitely so.
You know what I mean? So having that lens zoomed out like that, what would you say about how do you have a lot of people? Because the good thing about it is, how many people are doing what you do as far as being an acting coach around this area?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I would say there are actually acting coaches. Probably maybe 5 or 6 people. Like certain people do acting classes every year now, but who are consistently coaching, probably 5 or 6 people.
How many of them have your credentials behind
Nobody.
them? Nobody.
I'm the only one in Michigan and Illinois. One of the only ones in the world. Yeah. Yeah, that was a strategy too. That was a chess move I made. I wasn't just gonna go learn any method. I was gonna learn something that I could be a Power Ranger about. I got the green suit.
Just because we preachers kids, your gift we'll make room for you.
Yes.
So, on this episode of How Did We Get Here, we like to talk about how did we get here. And so, as part of the conclusion, we still could talk some more, but we think that where do we go from here involves what you've done. I think that more people need to pay attention to their gifts.
Yep.
We are all given gifts. Some of our gift is patience in dealing with people. Some of our gift is courage. Some of our gift is not being afraid of the stage.
Yep.
You know, you have to tune into your gifts, and once you start to figure out what your natural gifts are, then you should nurture that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we salute you, man. You had the courage, the cojones, as you say, to realize those gifts, be brave enough to take the risks against all odds or against some odds, you know, and take those risks. And you can now start to see those things that you started years and years ago when you left Verizon and you started real estate because you wanted to go to California. You know, that's years and years back.
Yep.
And now you start to see things come to fruition.
And look, time out. Hold on. I missed a very important part of that story, right? The same way Eastern came about when I started talking about the real estate, we was at Uncle Herbert's funeral. I go over to Dave, and Dave, because he didn't leave me wrong with Eastern, Dave doubled down on my real estate idea. He's like, B, you should really think about that real estate stuff. We chopping it up at the funeral. I was like, you know what? Dave gave me my first game, my Sega Genesis. Dave showed me to go to Eastern. And now Dave like, bro, you should go to real estate. I'm like, man, Dave ain't missed.
Because you got some real estate going on, too.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got some real estate experience going on, too.
That was part. I forgot. Dave been an integral part of my development. So shout out Dave.
Because
Sharing game.
Because yes sir, man. So how much acting you doing these days?
Man, so I got a show at the end of the month at the Flint Repertory Theater. I'm hoping next week I got an interview with Michigan State. Look, you probably shouldn't say this stuff. I got an interview with Michigan State to see if I can host this Disney event. They do this big Disney event at Michigan State. So I got an interview with them. So I may or may not get that. But I'm going to speak it to existence that I do. So that'd be dope if I get to put that on the resume. I'm trying to think. I feel like I got something else coming up. I know it's a third one. I can't think. I'm so busy nowadays. But I'm excited about my show at the Flint Repertory Theater. It's called Into the Side of a Hill. Coincidentally, it's a story about these 6 fraternity brothers. Okay. So when I got the script, I was like, you know, this will be a little easy for me because I know this story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's coming up April 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's a reading. It's what you do. It's called a stage reading. So you act it out, but you actually have the script in front of you. So that's the director. I don't know his name, but he's out of Chicago. So I'm hoping to make some big plays with him so I can actually go back into Chicago because my method, I'm the only one in Michigan and in Illinois. So hopefully he'll be a great plug for me to take my method into Chicago. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Then just focusing on building the studio. I just got done directing my first TV show. Shout out to Lamar Willie, Area 56, called The Turners, coming out. It's a comedy.
Nice.
With these guys on Instagram. They're called The Turners. So one guy's named Sir Turner, the other guy Ernest 64. The other guy there goes Reg _ Junior on Instagram. But these guys are hilarious, really talented. They're young, they're like 28 years old, but they play these old guys, and it's absolutely amazing. So I was blessed to have my opportunity to direct my first show. We directed 5 episodes. Hopefully it's good. I don't want y'all to be like, B said this was awesome. I think it's going to be awesome, but you know, everybody got their own judgment. But I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be hilarious. But yeah, man, it's been a busy month.
That's wonderful, man. Busy is good. We gonna take a lot of pride in saying that we broke him here first on How Did We Get Here, man. We had him when he was on this path, when he was doing he was doing the first 20 of the 150-something movies Samuel L. Jackson did. And, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure. We caught him early, so we get VIP. We want VIP to every event.
Oh, I got you, man. You in there.
You know what I mean? We need to be on that red carpet with you and all that brother. So is there anything else you want to put out here? And where can people see you? Where can people find out what's going on with you? Where can people keep up with you? Where can they come to train? Whatever you want to put out there, put it out there.
Perfect. You can follow me personally at Brian Taylor on Instagram. I was able to get my own name, but I switched the one in there. But if you type in Brian Taylor, it's going to come up. That's for all my personal stuff, the fun stuff. I'm very engaging on my Instagram stories and, you know, my pictures and whatnot. But in order to follow the studio, and come to the studio, that's at Detroit Drama Studio on Instagram.
At Detroit Drama Studio.
Yes, DetroitDramaStudio.com. I do have a website. It's highly official. The website will detail the technique and when classes are and whatnot. But yeah, that's how you get in touch with me. I got two places. That's either my personal, Brian Taylor, or on the website at DetroitDramaStudio.com or Instagram at Detroit Drama Studio.
So there's some of y'all out here that didn't know. Y'all might be watching this and didn't even know that you had to take, that you needed to take classes. But if this is something that you're looking to get into, don't think somebody gonna think your Instagram video is cute enough for you to make it on the big screen.
Not gonna happen.
Go to this guy and get some training.
Yep.
Get some training. Perfect your craft. Nurture your gift.
Yep.
Put it in the work.
Gotta put it in the work.
Put it in the work. And you'd be lucky enough to team up with this young man and become a part of the Detroit Drama Studio, because it's on the cusp of what's coming to Detroit.
Indeed.
It's going to be great. This man is going to keep following this path. We don't have to tell you. We know God is in control. God got a plan, and he ain't scared to follow it.
Nope.
So shout out to Brian Taylor for being today's guest on How Did We Get Here, man. We appreciate you coming by.
Oh, man, I enjoyed it, man, because I'm trying to get to the
You gave
yams.
us a lot.
That's my favorite Barnell Hill episode.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Outta here.
Coffee.